trick number one, quick way to select the whole sheet. Now, I know you guys must remember Control A does select all. The way I'm going to show you now is a much faster way, which does not require you to reach for the keyboard. All you need to do is see this box says the triangle there. You just click on this box and that highlights the whole sheet. So that's a much faster way to select the whole sheet as opposed to reaching for the keyboard and doing a Control A. So that was a quick method or quick way to highlight the whole sheet or select the whole sheet. So that's trick number one. Trick number two, transforming the case of a text or changing the case. Now, if you notice here in this file that we've got the for sales figures of a company, and dealer's name, the case is all messed up. Now, let's take the first example, Acme Pizza. Now, the A in the Acme needs to be uppercase, then C needs to be lowercase, M is already lowercase, but the E is again uppercase. In actuality, it needs to be a lowercase. The pizza P is fine, but the I is fine, but the first Z or Z is an uppercase, that needs to be a lowercase, and at the end, A is an uppercase, it needs to be a lowercase. Now, if you want, now there are three ways in which you can change the case of text. One is upper, one is lower, and one is proper. Let me show you how they work. Let's try the lower. Okay. Now it shows you need to put a text in here. So let's select this. And what this is going to do is it's going to convert everything into lowercase. Okay. So remember how the C here was uppercase, that became lowercase. The E was uppercase, that became lower. The P in the pizza was uppercase, that has been fixed and is now lowercase, and one Z is lowercase too. So that's how you can convert everything into lowercase. Now, suppose you want to make sure everything is in caps or in uppercase. So what you do is you type upper, and there you go. And what this does is, I'm just going to copy, double click, and it's going to copy this formula all the way down. It's going to convert everything into uppercase. Now see what has happened is all the letters are uppercase. But if you want this text to be kind of like this text here, the first letter of every word is uppercase and everything following that is lowercase, and after space when the new word starts, the first letter again is uppercase. You can do that too, and the way you do that is use proper, and let's select this, and you see how the A in the Acme and the P in the pizza is uppercase, everything else is lowercase. I'm going to double click here and just have it copy the formula all the way down, and there you go. See how every word, the first letter of every word is capital, is uppercase, and everything else following that is in lowercase. So that's the three functions: uppercase, lowercase, and proper, using which you can transform the case of text. Okay, now for trick number 3, create a unique value in a cell or in a list of cells. Now, in this sheet, if you notice the sales area, we've got a number of localities or cities being repeated. Now, if you want in column M, you want the sales areas, but you only want the name showing up once. Say, for example, Brooklyn is showing up 4 times, Harlem is showing up 8 times, Central Park is showing up 6 times, West Bridge is showing up 5 times. So you want each name only showing once. So let's see how you can have Excel do that for you. This is trick number 3. So all of us have done filters. So what we are going to do is we're going to be using advanced filters. Go to data and click on advanced. Okay. Now, the filter that we are going to be doing is on this column here, the sales area column. And what we'll do is we will check this. We'll click on this, copy to another location, and we are going to be copying to column M. And the important thing is to check this box down here, unique records only. What that will do is it will go through this list, filter out all the duplicates, and only bring in the unique names of unique sales areas here. So let's just click on OK, and there you go. So you see Brooklyn, Harlem, Central Park, sorry, West Bridge, Greenwich, and Madison Square. So each name is only showing up once. So that's how you can have Excel find out the unique values in cells. So that was trick number 3. Trick number 4, fast navigation around the screen. So on the screen we have an Excel sheet that shows the sales figures for a company. And now if you scroll down, it's several rows deep, and quite a few columns wide. So if you were, say for example, you're on this cell here, and you want to go to the rightmost cell. Now, what you can do is you can either use your arrow keys to move, or you can click on the rightmost cell. Now, there's a faster way of moving around the screen. Now, this was easier because we're still on the same screen, but on the same visible area. But supposing you want to go to the rightmost column, what you do is, if you are using arrow keys, you would have to scroll and then go here. Or if you are using a mouse, what you'll have to do is you'll have to move across and then click on that cell. Now, the fastest way to do that is, say for example, you are over here and you want to go to the last cell in this column. The quick way to do that is hold down the control key and hit the down arrow. It will automatically take you to the last row, last cell in that column. Okay, the last row, last cell in that column. Now, if you want to go to the first cell in the same column, just hold down the control key and you hit arrow up. And see how this got highlighted? Now, supposing you're sitting here and you want to go to the rightmost cell on the same row, you hold down the control key and you hit the right arrow. Okay, see how this got highlighted? Now, if you want to highlight the, if you want to make the go to the first cell in the same row, you hold down the control key and you hit the left arrow. Now, if you want to quickly highlight all the cells, to the bottom of this, you hold down the shift key and the control key while you're hitting the down arrow. Okay, so you see how only those cells got highlighted. Same way, if you want to highlight all the cells to the right, you hold down the shift, hold down the control and hit the right arrow. Similarly, up arrow and down arrow. So this is a quick way to quickly move around or navigate around the screen. So this was trick number 4. Okay, so now we are up to trick number 5, transpose data from rows and columns. What that basically means is when you're transposing, all your rows become columns and a column become rows. So basically, if you think about it, what you're doing is you're taking your worksheet and you're rotating it by 90 degrees, right? So let's see how it's done. So we have this sheet here, and I want to transpose this. So when I transpose this, what's going to happen is this row here is going to become columns, and these columns would become rows. So basically what's going to happen is these headings which are horizontal in a row, they would become columns. Okay, and then you have this data in column, and that is going to go across like that. Okay, so let's see how it's done. Well, the first thing what you do is you highlight all the data that you want to transpose, and then you go to copy. Okay, and I'll go to the next sheet. Okay, and then we are going to go paste, and this time we're going to do a paste special. Okay, and this box say transpose, I'm going to make sure that I check that and click on OK, and there you go. I'm just going to quickly resize the width. See how the headings here was in a single row. Now all the headings are in a column. The data is in column that has gone across like that vertically. From being vertical, it has now become horizontal. So that's basically how you transpose data. It comes in handy sometimes when you're doing graphs and other analysis. So that's basically a quick look at transposing data, and that was trick number 5. Trick number 6, how to get more info with just one click. Okay, so if this is the spreadsheet we have been working with so far, if I were to highlight a certain number of cells and you look down here, it says count 9. So basically what it's telling you is I have highlighted 9 cells. So if I were to do some more, and now you see what, now since numbers are also involved, it gives you the count, the sum, and the average. Now basically what that means is total 27 cells are highlighted. The sum of these numbers is 22 and the average is 2.444. Now if I were to want some more information, all I need to do is just move my pointer here, right click, and it will, this menu will open up and will tell you with, you can have other items being shown down there. For example, you can have num lock, caps lock, minimum, maximum. Okay, so now what's doing is saying the minimum value is 1, maximum is 4, and so that's a quick way to get more information just by highlighting some cells. Now if you notice here, it just gives you count is equal to 30 because no numbers are involved. If I were to highlight this column, there is giving you what the average is, what the count is, what the minimum, maximum, and the total sum is. So that's a quick way to and trick number 6, how to get more info with just one click. Okay, now trick number 7, how to compose text with the ampersand symbol. Now if you want to join 2 or more texts, cells that have text in them, if you want to join them together, you can use the concatenate function. Now let's just let me show you how the concatenate function works. Concatenate. Let's take John, that's a salesperson, sales area, and dealership, and close bracket. So that's one way of doing it. But instead of using the concatenate command and then putting brackets, it's much easier if you just use the ampersand symbol. And the way you do that is first cell, ampersand, second cell, ampersand, third cell, and that is it. See, it gives you the same result, and it's much simpler than using the concatenate command. So that's the trick number 7, how you compose text using the ampersand symbol. Trick number 8, how you can make a duplicate of a sheet in the same workbook. Say, for example, we have this worksheet here, and you just want to have a duplicate of that, for whatever you want to try out some formulas on it, and you don't want to mess the original. So you just want to make a copy and work on the copy and make sure that everything works before you actually implement it on the original. So how would you do that? It's very simple. Just move your mouse here, right click, move or copy, and just click on create a copy and click on OK, and that's the duplicate that has been created. You can move it to the end, or what you can do is, if you let me just show you another trick here. Move copy, you're making a copy and you want it to be moved automatically to the end, and then instead of at the beginning it will get moved to the end. And that's how you make a duplicate of a sheet within the same workbook. Okay, trick number 9, create a new shortcut menu. So you have the shortcuts up here. Now, if you want to add a command up here, what you do is just right click and then go in this drop down menu, just go to more commands, and here you have all the list of commands that you can then move here, and they will become part of this shortcut menu. Let's see. What should we add up here? Let's do this, increase font size. Okay, and you click on add and you click on OK, and now it's up here. So if you want to increase or decrease this font size, what we have done is we have selected increase font size command here. So if you click here, it should increase the font for you. Okay, from category 11 it has gone to 12, and like that. So that's how you can add a new command to the shortcut menu, right? And so that was trick number 9. Okay, now trick number 10, how to quickly move cells or move data around in your sheet. Now, supposing what you need to do is this column of fiscal year, you want it over here. Or one way to do that would be to do select this all and do a Control C for copy, come here and then Control V for paste, and then you delete this from here. So basically what you've done is you have moved that cell from that financial year's column from here to here. Let me just undo that. Okay, now there's a faster way of doing it. What you do is just click on the letters up, so the whole column gets highlighted if you're wanting to move the whole column. Otherwise, just highlight the data that you want to move, and then as you move your mouse over to the edge, now instead of a plus sign, it's going to become a like a the thinner arrows in all directions. See how the sign changes. Now when it's this simple here, what it means is if you hold down the mouse button, the left mouse button, and drag, it's going to drag the whole column with it. So I'm going to move it here, click on it, and then I'm going to drag it across and bring it here. See how quickly instead of doing a copy and then a paste here, in just one move, one operation, I was able to move this cell, this whole column from here to here. So that's how that's how you can easily move data around in your Excel sheet. If you want to just move selected cells, again, you highlight those and then move the pointer to, it becomes like a cross here, and then you hold on the left mouse button and then you drag and you let go and it moves there. That's how it's quick and it's much faster than you highlighting it, doing a copy, and then going to the destination and doing a paste. Right? So that's trick number 10, how to quickly move cells around in Excel. Okay, so for trick number 11, say for example, you have a lot of Excel files that you want to open all together. All you need to do is just highlight all of them and you hit enter, and one by one, Excel is going to launch and open all those files that you have highlighted. Let's just watch and see. There you are. It has opened all those files, and you see them down here. It has opened all the files that you had highlighted, and that's a quick way to open a lot of files all together in one go. So that was trick number 11. Okay, so now we have reached trick number 12. Supposing in this cell here, what you want to do is you want to have a diagonal line going across. You want to draw a diagonal line. You can very quickly do that using format cell option and the border option within that. So let's see how we do that. Let me just zoom in a bit. Sorry. Okay, now what you do is right click on the cell in which you want to put a diagonal line going across, go to format cells, okay, and see this guy here, that will draw a diagonal line going across like that. If you want a diagonal line going across, like, you know, from the bottom right to top left, you can click on this tool. If you want to go from bottom left to top right, you can click on this tool. Let's just do a line going across like that. So we click on this line here, and let's while you're at it, let's make it a little thicker. Okay, and you click on OK, and there you have it. You have now a diagonal line going across. You have used borders before, in which you just basically what you do is you're drawing boxes like this, but you can also draw a diagonal line using the border tool. All right, so that was trick number 12. Okay, now trick number 13. Now in this, what we will see is how you can insert more than one line or more than one column, one row or more than one column at a time. Say for example, if you want to insert a line, let's just do it here. So say for example, you want to have some extra lines in here. So what you would do is highlight this row, right click, insert. Now if you wanted like 5 lines, what you'll have to do is you'll have to go back and repeat this 5 times. Okay, now there is a faster way of doing this, and that is you highlight 5 rows that you want, where you want the lines to be inserted, and you click on insert, right click, insert, there you go. Suddenly you have 5 rows added, and it works with the columns also. So let's just undo this. Say, for example, you want to have 3 columns inserted. So you highlight 3 columns, and then you go right click, insert, and suddenly you have 3 columns inserted. You don't have to insert each column individually. So that's a quick way to add multiple columns or multiple rows in one go. So that was trick number 13. Okay, so now we are up to trick number 14. Supposing what you want to do is you want to hide this column. You want to hide the data that's in this column, the cost of goods sold. One way to do that would be you highlight the column, right click, and then you click on hide. It hides that column. Now, but what gives it away is if you see this column headers A, B, C, D, and then F, E is missing, and also this double line, that's a giveaway that a column is hidden. And if somebody was to highlight the whole sheet and double click on the separating line between 2 columns, which will resize all the columns, what will happen is the hidden cell, hidden column reappears. Okay, so now let's come up with a better way of hiding your data. So what we'll do is, again, we'll click on the letter E so the whole column gets highlighted. Then we'll right click, go to format cells, go to customs, and the custom format it will give is 3 semicolons. Okay, and you click on OK, and suddenly this this column appears to be blank. Now, if the active cell is in this column here, say for example you're in this cell, you can still see the contents of the cell, but it will if you're somewhere else, you would think this is empty. Now, on top of that, if you were to highlight and you hide this, what will happen is people might think that you got something hidden here, and they might try to double click, and what will happen is in this case it will not resize and reappear. What they will have to do is they have to take the extra step and go to unhide. Now when they do that, they'll see an empty column. Okay, what appears to be an empty column, let's put it this way, and unless they come here, then only would they be able to see that there's some data behind that. So that's a quick way to hide columns or cells that you want hidden. Okay, so that was our trick number 14. Okay, now trick number 15. We just showed you how you can open up multiple Excel files in one go. Now, supposing you want to switch between them. Now, one way to do would be to go here and then click on the file that you want to work on, and then do whatever you want to do. The key, the shortcut key for that, which might come in handy, so you don't, if you got your hands on the keyboard, you don't have to move to the mouse or the trackpad. You can just use the keyboard. If you're in the middle of punching something, your hands are already on the keyboard. That makes it faster. Is to hold down the control key and hit the tab key. Okay. See, every time I hit the tab key, it cycles through the Excel files that we have open. Okay, so that's a quick keyboard shortcut to make you quickly move between Excel files that you already have open. Okay, now trick number 16, how you can use data validation to make data entry easier and less error prone. So let's see. Let's take this example of this column here, the sales quarter. Obviously, if you're putting in numbers manually for which quarter the sale is done, numbers would be only one, quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, or quarter 4. Let's assume accidentally here instead of hitting 2 you hit 5, okay, and that got accepted. Now obviously that was wrong, so what you can do is you can use data validation to restrict the errors from happening. You can restrict Excel for only allowing certain inputs. Let's see how it's done. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight this column, go to data, data validation, and then data validation. And right now by default it says any value. Okay, so I'm going to go down to list, and I'm going to say the only values that I allowed in this column are 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, and I'm going to uncheck this in cell drop down. What that means is if I leave that checked, what it will do is it will create a drop down in this column, and I'll show you how that's done, how that may be useful too. But let's for now uncheck this and click on OK. Now let's assume here instead of 1 we accidentally type in 5, hit enter. It's going to give you an error. Okay, this value does not match the data restriction defined for this cell. So what you have done is you have basically made sure that an error an error does not happen, a wrong input does not get put into that particular cell or column. Now just a little bit ago I also told you how we uncheck that in cell drop down. Let's go ahead and do that also. That's again another way how you can use data validation to make input faster and safer. Okay, so go to data validation. Right now this is what it is, and this time I'll just go ahead and check in cell drop down and click on OK. Now what's going to happen is whenever I go to the cell, what happens is there's a drop down that gets created, and instead of me having to enter, I can just pick the value. Now in this case it's not a big deal because just 1, 2, 3, 4. But if you have a lot of data that you need to put in, for example, if over here if you have the dealer's name in a database and you want the drop downs to come from a database, that instead of you having to type in the dealer name, that's the type of thing that where data validation would come in handy and would allow you to minimize your mistakes. Okay, minimize the mistakes in data entry and make data entry faster. So that was our trick number 16. Okay, now trick number 17, how to make data entry of complex words or terms easier in Excel using the autocorrect function. Okay, so supposing you have to type in undulated, which means not smooth, not level. Okay, so you get especially in engineering, you could say if land is not plane, if it's up, you got ups and downs, so you can say it's undulated. So anytime you have to type it in, to make it easier to type, what we'll do is we'll use the autocorrect function. And the way you do that is you go to File, click on Options, and then Proofing, and then Autocorrect Options. Here what we'll do is we will first type in what we would when we actually doing the data entry, how much of the word are we going to type, okay, and then what is the actual word. Let's make it dulated, it's a duration. Okay, so UNDUL is all we'll type, and have Excel put in the ATED and make the whole word for us. Okay, so we click on Add, OK, and OK. Now when I'm, say for example, I'm in this cell here, I'm doing data entry and I have to type undulated. So I just type UNDL and hit the space bar, and see how Excel just completed the whole word. That's how you can make it. If you are doing a lot of data entry for, you know, for engineering or medical, data in your spreadsheets. The idea is for you to add those terms and those technical words and terms and terminologies in the autocorrect function, so you make it easier for yourself to do the typing, and also the chances of you making spelling mistakes would be less. So this is a quick way to enter complex words and terms into Excel using the autocorrect function. And now trick number 18, list of functions available to you in Excel. Now, if you were to go onto this tab here where it says formula, you have all a list of functions in different categories. They have categorized in different categories. So say for example, you're working on some financial data. So if you click on financial, it will give you a list of functions that are useful for doing any financial analysis. Now, if you were to mouse over any one of them, a window will open up and explain to you how to use this. For example, if you're on the ACCRNT, it returns the accrued, basically it's the accrued interest rate. ACCR is for accrued, INT is for interest. So this gives you the accrued interest for security that pays periodic interest, and tells you exactly, this window that opens up tells you exactly what it is and how to use it. So that was okay. Let's see some more. If you want to look at logicals, the and, false, if error, not, or, true. Let's go to text. So basically what this does is it gives you the list of functions that you have available, and also tells you how to use it. So if you are working on a spreadsheet and you need some help with some functions, this is the place to go. And that is the trick number 18. Trick number 19, having the ability to rename sheets in your workbook. Okay, so this is a workbook that we have, and this only has one sheet, and by default the first sheet that Excel opens up for us is called sheet 1. Now that's a very nondescript kind of a name for a sheet. If you want to if you have multiple sheets in your workbook, it's probably the best that you give some logical names to your worksheets. And the way you do that is just move your mouse over to where the sheet is, do a right click and rename, and then you can just type in the name. Okay, or faster still, you just double click on where's the existing sheet name, and it highlights that, and then you can type in the new name, hit enter, and that's gets stored. So right now we only have one sheet in this workbook. But say for example, if we have 5 or 10 different sheets, instead of sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3, probably the best thing would be to give those sheets names, descriptive names, so it's easy for and you can put the relevant data in each sheet, and you give the sheet a name that pertains to the data that's in, or the purpose for the sheet, and that would make it more logical. Okay, so that was trick number 19, where you can give some descriptive names to your sheets in your workbook. Trick number 20. This is how to put leading zeros in front of numbers, and we will be doing that using custom formatting. Now these two columns, I'm sorry, have the revenue and the cost of goods sold figures. Now some figures are bigger than the other ones, So this is 6 characters wide and this is only 5 characters wide. So you might want to have a number that is smaller in width or in length. You might want to have it have a 0 at the beginning. So the way you would do that is you would highlight these two columns, okay? Click on the letters, so the whole column gets highlighted. Then you right click, go to format, and then custom, and what we'll do is we'll put 0, 0, 0, comma 0, 0, 0. Okay. What that does is whenever the number is less than 6 digits long, it will put a 0 at the beginning, and after for the thousandth place it will also put a comma, so it makes numbers easier to read. And you click on OK, and there you go. Now for most numbers which are 6 characters long, it's not going to make a difference, but say for example this one here, let me just zoom in. Here it did make a difference. Okay, for these two it did not, because these were already 6 digits long, but this was only 5 digits long, and so that for that number a 0 got appended at the beginning. So that's how you can put in a 0, a leading 0 in numbers. So that was the trick number 20.